Hello, Sharpies. I'm Tom Cunningham.
I'm Joy Stevens. Welcome to
And
another episode of Steel Sharp as Steel. Tonight is the red episode. We are red on red on red. Like you can't get away from it.
now this is 100% Crimson and Cream collection
Absolutely.
collaboration today.
What would we call this? Ooh, nope. Sure.
Hey, I'm all for that.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, y'all. It's always a week. I have to say, shout out to the worst administration in the history of our nation for giving us high quality material for the show every week. We are offering praise and worship to Saint Jimmy Kimmel for leading the way of letting us know that it is okay to speak and have our thoughts heard. We gonna keep on being here and speaking truth to power as long as we are able. Not real quick, completely. Go ahead.
I'll say real quick shout out to the Sharpies that were in here not only on time but early. So Anthony every time in here a good 45 minutes before the show started. Miles Simmons, welcome back. Phil Hairston, welcome back to you too as well. And everybody else, we got a few more people that are watching. So drop a what up in the chat so we can say hi to you. We appreciate y'all being here as we wade through the fecal festivities of the week.
Listen, Anthony Turner be in our chat longer than those generals had to sit and listen to Trump and Hegseth. And that's a mighty long time. And I'm here to tell you, there's something else. The after speech.
Right.
It's a world of never-ending sadness. You can never see the sun. So we do have a lot to talk about. And like I said, in the run-up to the show, we're going to start off with a little bit of good news. The name of the show this week is Let Her Cook. And that is a direct reference to, of course, Lisa Cook, who is still on the Fed chair of governors. And that is thankfully due to SCOTUS not being completely idiotic and finally making the judgment that, no, it really does say she can't be fired without cause. And not only have you not demonstrated the cause, because that ground is shakier than San Francisco before the earthquake, but it is also something that happened years ago. It has not happened while she was on the board of governors, which basically says she's already been vetted and she's been approved.
Right. It's a very political and professional way of saying, why are you bringing up old stuff?
Right.
And it also says that they knew about that before she was ever put in that position, because it happened before she came into this office, right? So, again, not only are you bringing up old stuff, but it's old stuff that's already been reviewed and discarded. So you can't bring anything. And to your point about not having cause, he didn't even have a reason other than, I don't like her. She's DEI, pretty much.
Right. Which she wasn't. Because, of course, she has more degrees than Trump does. And those degrees are directly pertinent to the job she's doing right now. Also, like 40% of your cabinet has the same issue.
Yeah.
And tell me that the most infamous cheat to ever hold the office of president doesn't have multiple residences listed as his primary residences on the mortgages that he holds on his 6 or 7 properties.
Didn't he try to vote in New York and Florida?
This is what I'm saying. So clearly, what's good for the goose. And here's, just so that people are clear, in case somebody ever tries to come up to you and say this. Everything about the allegation is false. She did not check on her second application that it was going to be her primary residence. She, in fact, said, this is not my primary residence, but because of who she is and her income and everything else, the bank was like, we're still going to give you this low rate because we know you can pay it. And so you have money.
The reason I get low rates, my credit is awesome. Yeah.
That's what happens. You can get good rates when your credit is awesome. Also, are you shocked and surprised that a Black woman can own 2 homes because you're going after Fonnie Willis or going after Letitia James for the same stuff?
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't have to cheat. Just because you have a second mortgage doesn't mean you did something nefarious. And she did not. So there is nothing to it except that you have a malicious prosecution by one of your stooges who really shouldn't be over Fannie Mae or Sally Mae, whatever it is Fannie Mae. He shouldn't be over it, but he is. And you put him there specifically to try to chase Schiff and try to chase James and try to chase Cook. None of those suits are working out.
I'll tell you something else about something you just said. And this goes back into the whole, like, I'm getting an echo from you, but the whole like DEI hire type thing. It's the same reason that if a young Black man, say anywhere between 20 and 50, is driving down the street in a Bugatti or a Lamborghini, whatever, I don't think in my white supremacy mind that you deserve or even have the will or the skill to earn this thing that you're driving. And you look suspicious by the very nature that you are Black and doing this. And so when you said, why is it a big deal that she owns 2 houses? She's a Black woman. And by their white supremacist mindset, there is no way she can afford 2 houses. This has to be a lie. It has to be, which is where he even got anybody on board with that. Nobody would ever think of prosecuting Milton Bradley. I'm just coming up with a white name. That's the first one that came to mind. Over 2 houses. Matter of fact, they got a whole boardwalk, right? Nobody would ever consider. Nobody
in the game of life, he probably has 6 children in that little plastic car, in addition to multiple houses.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of that, there's always this idea that, again, there's the shifting in morality and the double standards. But somebody was trying to shame a Black woman. They were trying to shame a Black woman for having kids by 2 different people. I don't remember what the whole situation was, but it was a public figure, somebody legal. And but one of my girls she's not my girl, I don't know her, but one of the people I follow on Threads was like, let me run down a list of people and how many kids they have. And she just started listing all the athletes: 6 babies, 5 mothers, 5 babies, 2 mothers, 8 babies, 7 mothers, 11 babies. And then she started putting in like some rich white people, like 11 babies, 7 mothers. Like, y'all, they getting it in. They're pollinating, right? And y'all don't even worry about this woman that was married twice.
Right.
And had a kid by both husbands. Meanwhile, they just out here dropping future supremacists out here, which is probably what they're trying to do. But just the idea that you can try to shame somebody over something that you yourself is doing, they try that all the time. But when you do it and you Black, it's negative.
Listen, Hegseth has so many exes and kids that they had to cut down the security detail on all his families because it was costing too much. Trump has 5 kids by 3 baby mamas, and all of the subsequent children were the products of affairs with his then wives.
Yes.
So,
but Chan, you're right about this. You thought he might have been right because he knew what to look for because he had done it. Yeah, but no.
Well,
and Phil, all I hear is, who's that on that nag? And Miles, the Bible did say go forth and multiply, and they were like, say less.
Well, and speaking of people who have multiplied quite a bit, who probably shouldn't have, Elon Musk got a whole passel full of children.
They had him on there too. He's in the double digits.
He is in the double digits.
And letting him in their house.
Well, their house is the least of their concerns, I would say. And speaking of unsettling houses and things with the Musk name, Elon Musk's father is being accused by multiple of his children that he has essayed those kids. And in fact, he has a baby by one of his stepdaughters.
Elon Musk's father has a child by his stepdaughter.
By his stepdaughter.
What in the Woody Allen is going on? Let me not line the wrong one. What in the Woody Allen is going on?
So it's a lot. And it's an awful lot. And just quickly, because I don't want to get into this, but it's probably been on your feeds just like it's been on my feed while we're talking about parents and children and drama. Google Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, comma, kids. Because let me tell you something. We had the Tiger King, but these two Tiger moms are going at it. And Nikki, listen, you don't have an album right now. You don't have a project. You don't need to be in other people's business. You really don't. And who you definitely don't need to be in the business of is Cardi B. Because if you come for Cardi B, she is going to come right back at you. And I'm not going to say what has been said.
I don't even follow Cardi that much, although I am fond of her. You know, speaking as an elder, I am fond of the young lady. She's always been who she is. Even before she got her teeth fixed, even when she was on Basketball Wives or Real House, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Love and Hip Hop. Thank you. I don't watch reality TV, so I didn't know who she was until she popped up with, what was it, Bodak Yellow or whatever that song was.
Yeah, she was.
She
was on.
These is red bottoms. These is bloody shoes. This is the first time I ever heard of it. Right.
Yeah.
I listened to some of her music. I was like, okay, little girl, I see you. And then I started to hear her story, and I was like, oh, she's her. Like, don't mess with her. I remember her saying, if I got beef with you, we got beef forever. And she meant that. I have never heard Cardi walk back anything she has ever said. And upon further inspection, I have never heard Cardi need to walk back anything she has ever said. The girl ain't stupid. And here's what people get. This is where society and stigma and everything come into play, because she was a stripper and she brooks no bones about that. She's like, I used to strip. I used to take it off for money. Now I can rap. I got my career. The same way we have people who used to be in, street pharmacists that turn into a rap career.
Or who used to be boxers who turned out to be president of the United States.
That too. But she was I think a history buff and potentially going to go to college to be a history major. Cardi's not dumb. She's not slow. She can debate when she wants to. When she doesn't want to, she takes you out with a one-hitter quitter, right? And that's what she did to Nicki. Now, I don't follow Nicki. I will say, the first time I heard Nicki Minaj, I was like, "Ooh, she nasty." But I mean, that could be said about any of them. But then upon hearing her, she's got some gems. She's made some good sense. I've seen some good interviews with her as well. But I've never seen anyone go up against Cardi and not come out bloody from one of them bloody shoes to the forehead. So, people, I entreat you all. I implore you, everyone within the sound of my voice, don't mess with Cardi B. She is not the one or the two. I'm not going to try that okay thing because I can't do the I did it.
You did it. Come on. How are you going to say you can't do okr? So the point is, if you want a good 5 or 6 minutes, just Google the beef. The back and forth is fofing. That's all I'm gonna say. It is.
Samuel is up on it, and we're not gonna say the things that have been said because honestly, it's all below the belt, really below the belt. We talking about people, families. We talking about children. Well, usually those are off limits, but
right.
Wait, Cardi did throw her mic at somebody when they threw water at her. They threw water at her, and she came back with a solid object. This is what I'm talking about. One hit a quitter. She don't play that.
Okay, wait. Chad's emojis are telling more of the story than anything else.
Oh, yo. Yes. Look it up.
And Chad,
just go look.
You are not wrong. You are clearly, absolutely not wrong. And I'm sorry. I don't want to get into it. We have other stuff to talk about, but that was on my spirit today because it has been on my timeline for the last 3 days. It's a lot. Speaking of things that should be memorialized in time, when I was in DC last week, there was an installation of an installation of a very special statue. And this was the statue. Now, who is this immortalized in faux bronze and faux marble? Well, on the left, that is Donald Trump, who is admittedly looking a lot more slender than he actually is. And he is frolicking, holding hands with Jeffrey Epstein. And it says, best friends. They have a fake plaque, 3 fake plaques. And the 2 plaques underneath the figures actually recycle information from the infamous birthday card. And then the bottom plaque has a little hands for, best friends forever hand thing. And they're gambling and they're frolicking. This was on the National Mall. The people who have installed the statues have installed other statues. This was their statue of the Resolute Desk.
And not only is it a poop, but it is a poop that is turning. It's not even real gold. It's tarnished poop.
Yeah. Tarnished poop. This installation was called Resolute Desk. They also did this one, which is the Eternal Flame, but as envisioned as a tiki torch from Charlottesville.
Sinking into the ground, yeah.
Sinking into the ground. They have this dictator-approved image of a golden thumb. I wonder who that's supposed to represent, crushing the Statue of Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have this one, which is a commentary on the tackiness of the newly faux gilded White House manifested by a TV reality show star. So back to this statue. It was up all day, and at 5:30 in the morning, the Park Service came and they took it down. Now, the people who installed the statue very wisely asked that if the statue were to be taken down for any reason, that they get notified. And so the Park Service agreed, and so the Park Service called them. And so when the Park Service called, they ran out and they videoed them. And basically they said, well, the permit wasn't right, and this exceeds the limitations of the permit, so we have to take it down. And they not only took it down, they knocked it down.
Oh, wow.
And they broke it. And they were allowed to go see what had been happening, because, if it were a Confederate monument, it would have been treated with the utmost respect, very gingerly handled. But they pushed it down on the ground because they were trying to destroy it, and they wanted as much damage as possible. But it was still their property, so they had to be issued their property back, and they refiled the permit. It was supposed to be up until September 28th, but it lasted basically a day because, of course, Trump saw it and get that thing down.
That was
so yes, so they put it together. They glued the pieces back in place, and they have reissued and reinstalled the statue, and this time it looks even jankier. This is one of the plates. This is the Jeffrey Epstein plate. So before it looked perfect. Now it's all broken up, but that's now part of the installation.
So now it's even more artistic.
Now it's even more artistic because it's a statement about the First Amendment. Oh, wow. Thank you, Phil.
So 3D printing instructions.
That is
Look
awesome.
Look 3D printing instructions online if you want to make your own Trump statue.
I have a 3D printer, so depending on how it is.
But Chan's got a point. Like this, the Epstein files are staying in the news, not only because there's outrage around it, but because it's a catchphrase thing. It's trendy. Something. Remember how long we said Epstein didn't kill himself for like a year, right? Mm-hmm. Something. Wow, it's 85 degrees out here, and Epstein didn't kill himself. And now it is, yeah. I hear what you're saying. Blah blah blah. Release the Epstein files.
Here's the thing, though, Chan and Sam. This was sticky for them.
Yeah.
He ran on this. Kash Patel, Pam Bondi. Every time Kash Patel got in front of a microphone before he was the FBI director, if I was the FBI director, I would release the Epstein files on day one. Mm-hmm. We're at day 250 or whatever.
And when in the previous administration, they couldn't release it because it was an ongoing investigation, right? It was an active case.
That's the other thing that they keep saying that, but Ghislaine Maxwell's appeal wasn't finished until the end of Biden's administration. Mm-hmm. So you couldn't release those files while she was still appealing. Her last appeal failed. Then the files were able to be released, and they might have been released, But then Trump came into office and has been
Mm-hmm.
stonewalling. And the other part of it that makes it sticky, if it were just a Democratic thing, if there was uniformity on the GOP side, that we're leaving it alone. But there's not. And one of the loudest voices of the MAGA GOP, which is Marjorie Taylor Greene, because you don't hear Lauren Boebert saying very much about it. You don't hear Nancy Mace saying very much about it. But their names are still on the discharge petition. And that's the other thing. Every time there's an opportunity to let it go, the GOP makes a big stink about not letting it go.
Mm-hmm.
Release the files. We're going to release them. We got 30,000 pages. One of those 30,000 pages were 90% redacted, and almost all of that stuff had already been in the public eye. Mm-hmm. So you released nothing. Oh, well, we're going to release the grand jury testimony, but we can't. Yeah, but nobody asked for the grand jury testimony. Right. You got 4 terabytes of crap, videos. You got all this sort of stuff. And then it was, well, now there's a birthday letter, but the birthday letter didn't exist. And then the family brings forth the birthday album, and the letter is there. Every time they keep doing something to try to tamp it down, it backfires. And the thing that is shining through more than anything else on these Epstein files is, can you imagine how bad what's in there is for Trump?
Yes.
It is so bad.
Because
it is so bad that it can't come out.
I have perused the front page of, before it got blocked, because I only go out there every now and then. I don't know when they blocked it, but I used to peruse the front page of, we'll call it Foreign Hub. And the things that you could see out there would like take my appetite. I'd be like, oh, let me go out here and see what's out there. Oh, you know what? I'm going to bed. That's nasty. And so if I can only imagine, sadly enough, I can't imagine what could potentially be in there that would be so bad that they would go to these lengths, even potentially enacting violence against people to keep it under wraps. And I think, I'm not suicidal if something happens to me. And I think we're at that point. Chana, you and I are on the same page. Like, people are going to start feeling a certain, you're going to start seeing people be threatened against voting to release this. But all through, like you said, all through the Democrats being in office, release the files. Why won't you release the files? I would do it if I were there. And then when you get in there, oh, we don't need that. No, never mind. And the look of that look that you see Cash have sometimes, like, are you looking for the gunman? Like, what's happening for you right now, son? Like, I'm worried. I'm worried about your health. I'm worried about your stress levels, because you look like you almost got a thyroid issue. Like, what's going on? Oh, wait, no. That Marjorie Taylor Greene actually said that.
No, that is an actual quote.
I didn't know that. Oh,
that. No, that's absolutely the quote.
Yeah, but I mean, she's right. And I say I appreciate anything she says, but I appreciate the fact that she's making it known if something happens to me, I'm not suicidal. They just came and got me, because she won't shut up about it. And as they say, a broken clock is right twice a day. As much as I don't agree with most of the things that she says, and as much as I want to berate her for voting for something that she didn't read, and then it's like, well, if I knew that was in there, I wouldn't have voted for it. You were supposed to know that was in there and not vote for it. I'm glad that she's not letting this go, and the calls are coming from inside the House. There's a whole lot of Republicans that are like, nah, we need to release that. We said we would, and they're not walking it back. And so, to your point, they can't control their own party, because within the GOP, within the Republican Party, you've got people that see what's happening to their own party and are disgusted,
Well, and that another thing that has kept it in the news and will keep it in the news is they had a special election for the representative from Arizona. Her father, Representative Grijalva, had passed. And so they had a special election. His daughter ran and won by 40 points. And by all indications, when the GOP had a special election and somebody was elected, they installed that person right away because they needed the vote. But they're holding off on installing her because she would be the 218th vote on the discharge petition. And when that petition is signed with 218 votes, there has to be a vote, and that vote will pass, and then it will force the release of the Epstein files. So MAGA Mike Johnson has been playing really fast and loose, doing everything that he can to prevent her from being installed so that that vote can be prevented. Meanwhile, a TikToker came out on Monday and said, swear her in by Wednesday or I'm releasing your Grindr profile and your IP address. Well, that lasted for a couple of hours before he started getting death threats. The next day, he had to post an update saying, I have given the information to a bunch of different people. If anything happens to me, it will be released immediately. I've turned it over to my lawyer. I don't even have personal possession of the information anymore. It is with media outlets. It is with my lawyer. It is with a bunch of different other people who are unnamed. Now, Wednesday has come and gone, and the information has not been dropped. But what I will say is that MAGA Mike was probably sweating bullets for 48 hours. Because, and it still might happen, who knows? But she has not been sworn in. And now we're in a shutdown. And
the shutdown might have been a bigger part of that as well. Like, we just all leaving. The same way they left with the last time they were supposed to vote. We're just leaving. We're not going to do anything.
Incidentally, the last two government shutdowns, because we haven't had them in 7 years, last two government shutdowns were under Trump, including the longest shutdown in American history. So he's king shutdown. Yeah, that's fine. I don't know that I believed it either, Chan, but, well, I don't know that I didn't believe it.
I don't know. Every time the GOP gets together somewhere, they shut down Grindr.
Correct. So it would have been great. May still be great. Doesn't matter. Because the more important thing is get her installed so we can release the Epstein files.
Right.
Because the shutdown is not working to their benefit. It just isn't. They thought that they'd be able to pin it on the Dems, but his approval and the public's belief in him was so low. And he's been spending the last several weeks playing really dumb games and going to England and, Melania trying to give a gift that the kingdom had given to the United States way back. And she tried to give it back to them. And now they're trying to claim that it was a replica sword. Well, why would you give a replica sword to the King of England? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Melania, you just didn't know. And you messed up. And the guy who is the president of the curator, the lead guy at the Eisenhower Library, which is where the saber was, resigned because she said, hey, give that to me. And he's like, yeah, but no. And she's like, but they want it. And it's a whole mess. This country is literally a mess.
Yeah.
And perhaps
I think part of the problem is so many people, my everyday life, while getting up, working, flying somewhere, coming home, hasn't changed. And so a lot of people take that lack of immediate damage to be like, it's not that bad, or nothing's really going on. This is all blown out of proportion. But that'd be like standing at a beach and watching the waves go out and saying, well, it's just kind of dry out here. There's nothing really going on. There's a tsunami coming for you. And you can't recognize the signs because you're dry right now. That's the dumbest thing. Everyone has told you there's historical evidence that when the wave goes out like that, a tsunami is coming back. And you're like, I don't see it though. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening right now.
Yeah, you also don't see the horizon. Right. Because the tsunami has risen above the horizon line. And you just think that sky, that's water. That's
water.
That is coming to get you. There's another thing that has loomed large this week. And it has to do with this is a tough thing to say. In a cabinet that is so uniformly bereft of any right or authority or skill to perform any of the positions that are currently held in the cabinet, to single out a person who is so uniquely qualified that they are arguably the worst ever to hold the job, and they are the worst of the worst, is pretty tough. But this week, once again, the former host of Fox Television, who is now the Secretary of Defense, I will not call him the Secretary of War, but the Secretary of Defense spent millions of tax dollars to fly every important military leader we have in the country to a single location with the Secretary of Defense and the president in the same room at the same time.
Just so he could stand up there and tell them that they need to lose weight or whatever.
Tell them that they need to lose weight, that women need to perform as well as men. And Amy McGrath, who is a combat veteran and who is running for Senate in Kentucky, made a point of saying there are no separate standards for women. They're just standards.
Yeah.
You got to be able to do the stuff.
Right. Didn't you watch G.I. Jane? All they do is watch movies. Yeah. And Phil's right. So he could sell a book.
Well, and he made a point. This is, I'm trying to, there was a video, because this is what TikTok is for. It was, tell me that these two clips have the same energy. And it was Hegseth in front of all the generals saying what he was assured would be a rousing applause line. And he says it, and he has to leave the stage to silence. Not even crickets. Silence. Not a golf clap. Silence. And then they cut to Coming to America when Randy Johnson
Sex your chocolate.
He drops the mic and has to go off stage because nobody's clapping. That boy good. Nobody said that boy good. Nobody. Literally, nobody said that boy good. This is the generals. Now, he's railing about women. You have a woman general. Look at all those badges she has. Look at those medals and those honors. Look at all of the medals. This guy looks like his grandson made a Lego brick and put it on his chest.
Yes.
All of these honors. You got a black man.
They look
2 rows behind the white woman.
They look like a TV screen from the 70s, right? Like just gigantic square of color. In each one of those small differentiated colors is a medal of honor or some patch of recognition. And decorated. And these are highly decorated people.
And what the Secretary of Defense has is a flag pocket square, which incidentally is a violation of flag code.
Yeah.
Because you're not supposed to
wear the flag as
the flag. You're not supposed to. Also,
but he wanted it to kind of look like a decoration. Yeah. We see what you're doing there.
And he's standing behind the president's podium. Interesting. But yeah, Chan, you make a point. There were some fears that this was going to be tantamount to when Hitler basically enforced a loyalty pledge from all the generals in the Weimar Republic. That you got to be loyal to Adolf. Another TikToker said, how crazy do you have to be to have a stumpy dude with dark hair and a Charlie Chaplin mustache tell you that blonde hair and blue eyes were the ideal and he ain't even got it?
It's Voldemort all over again. Because if you remember Voldemort's story, he hated half-bloods or mudbloods, but he was one.
He was one.
And Trump hates weak, stupid people, but you know.
Yeah. Tom Marvolo Riddle. I am Lord Voldemort. So
I wanted to share like this is the video that actually you sent me. And you know, when we think about all these people, all these you know, Republicans and non-voters and people who helped us get to this current fecal festival. You know, so many people are like, well, it was the same in both sides. And I've said over and over again that it was not the same. And like Anthony said at the top of the hour, thank you, Mrs. Cunningham. He had Jewish roots. The self-hate is deep. Probably goes back to some girl who wouldn't date him or didn't smile at him when he was 10, and he's hated everybody ever since. That needs to be, I mean, I would say it needs to be studied, but it has been studied. It's been studied extensively, and people understand what sort of psychosis and narcissistic behavior leads us to this. And then we voted for it. We voted for it anyway. But I wanted to share this really quickly. Just
I
listen.
love her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't vote in the election. There wasn't a candidate I liked.
Oh, wow. Why?
It's just ridiculous that we're choosing from two parties. We should have way more options. Kamala wouldn't even show support for the Palestinians.
I mean, that's a whole separate topic, but let's stick with the voting. Can I give you an analogy?
Go ahead.
We have to order dinner and you have to eat dinner. There's no backing out of dinner. I want to eat pizza. Chad wants to eat a plate of shit. You're like, well, I don't like pizza or shit, so I'm just not going to vote.
Yeah.
On some level, you're okay eating shit.
I just don't think it's fair that we only choose from two candidates. We should have way more options.
No argument here. I would love to see more options. So couldn't we have discussed that over pizza?
Anna Connolly. You should follow her. This is the most allied ally. Well, her and Tim Wise, and also
there's plenty of very
boy Greg. Yeah, there are a
Very
bunch.
Paul is one of my favorites too, from the LGBTQ community. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, but she is, almost all of her content is her arguing with the MAGA version of herself.
Mm-hmm.
And that MAGA version of herself is so infuriating. It's so great to see her deconstruct her with the calm.
Right. Although one time she brought in a third party of herself and is like, oh my God, I'm gonna smack you right in the face one of these days.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Misinformation is that character.
Yes.
So there's a misinformation. And so misinformation sometimes pops in between the MAGA and the normal person. But she's great, and all of her stuff is worth watching. Definitely. Tizzy is also really good too.
Yep.
Amanda's
Mouth takes every Tuesday. She's like, let's look at Trump's fails of the week. It's only Tuesday, and she'll go through all the failures that he's had. You know,
and
she always ends with, yes, she's great.
Yeah, a whole lot of great content being produced in this nightmare that we are living in. And speaking of nightmares that we're living in, Unraptured. I don't know if anybody else was raptured, but obviously we're still here. And I don't know how many of you, because everything goes around, right? I remember it was maybe 12 years ago. Wasn't there another promise that there was going to be the end of the world or a rapture? And I actually knew somebody, because, you know, it wasn't just a certain unmelanated demographic that bought into that. I know someone who actually was like, well, it's over now, so we don't have to pay bills. We're going to be gone anyway. And so they like sold stuff, and
2012
and friends were saying, thank you. Well, was it just 2012? So that's about
13 years ago. Yeah.
13 years ago. And lots of people were just sure, and it's been 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
So how'd that work out?
Here's the thing that people don't understand. We're already in hell. The devil has dominion over this earth, and it's been that way probably since World War II. Like, it's been getting shittier and shittier. And because it is an everyday thing, people are born into it, you live into it, whatever. You don't realize that your existence is hellish, right? Because you never had it good. You don't know what it's like. Matter of fact, we don't know when hell started, but it was supposed to last a long time. We're not out of it yet. We keep choosing more hell. So it is what it is.
Well, I'll just tell you this. All of you people who are so sure that like Biden or Obama was the Antichrist, Biden or Obama asked you to wear the mark indicating that you were an adherent.
They didn't ask
them red hats, though.
They didn't ask you to swear loyalty. They didn't try to chip you like they're thinking of doing. Yeah.
They didn't ask you to buy Trump coin, which sure sounds like he's trying to create a currency that will be the only thing that will allow you to trade.
Well, there's this other, not conspiracy theory, but this theory that a lot of the Project 2025ers, a lot of that religious, cultish right, etc., are trying to bring about the end of days by putting things in place. Not because they want to die, but because they think they're going to get raptured and they want to stick it to everybody else. And the funny thing is, that ain't how you do it, bruh. That's not how that go. Also, Jesus might already be here. Y'all might have deported him. He might be in Venezuela right now, for all we know.
Kicking it. Or Uganda. I mean, being closer to home.
This boy said he was in the 9th grade in 2000. Boy, if you don't get off here and go to bed.
I know that's right. 9th grade in 2000.
Bro, I was on my second job in 2000.
Right. I was about to say I had just gotten married. Wowza.
Yeah.
And speaking about the two-party system, did you put up Sam's comment about the two-party system or no?
Yeah, I'll put it back up. But here's the thing. Yeah,
okay.
You don't have to like the two-party system, but there's a clear distinction between business as usual and destruction of democracy. Pizza and a shit sandwich, right? If you thinking that all tastes the same means you have no discernment.
And I'm just going to put this out. I put it on my Facebook page, but I'm going to say it on the show because it's the first opportunity that I've had to say it since I put it on the Facebook page. You Jill Stein voters.
Every time.
Where is she?
Jill come out like freaking the hedgehog, just every now and then to peep up and make sure that she gets enough votes to cause disruption and go back down.
And here's the thing. All of you people who want a third party, you need to make a viable third party. You don't make a viable third party during
a presidential election. Yeah.
No. You need some green mayors. You need some green state reps. You know, even the Reform Party, as I said, the Reform Party had a governor. Jesse Ventura was a Reform candidate in Minnesota. Y'all don't hold any federal level elected seats. None, not one. You've got 2 independents in the Senate right now. But both are aligned, technically, with the Democrats. There are democracies throughout the world that have multiple parties. Israel has multiple parties, and those minority parties can actually wield power in conference with larger parties. But the Greens have nothing, and they will never get anything if they plan on getting just the presidency. Right. And for all of you people who say, well, I will never vote, bird, same bird, different feathers, different wings, whatever, you at some level are willing to eat the fecal focaccia.
Nice. And here's my metaphor, I guess you call it. If I am enslaved and there are 2 plantations, one requires me to be assaulted, whipped, beaten, worked to death, and potentially murdered or die before my 40th birthday. And the other one promises me a longer life and weekends off, maybe a few beatings, but I get to keep my kids if I have any. That's not the same. They're both plantations. I'm a slave no matter what. I'm going to get beaten. There's going to be some problems, right? But one is abject terror and horror, and the other is manageable disappointment and despair. I'm going for manageable disappointment and despair. And I've said this before about the current Democratic Party, because people love to, if you want to talk about politics, they're like, well, it was the Republicans who freed the slaves. Yes, I know that. But what they fail to understand is I don't care what banner a potential political party flies. Which one is less abject terror? The moment I'm voting for less abject horror in my life. I'm voting for a potential possibility of a light at the end of the tunnel versus nothing but pain and misfortune, personal pain and misfortune. Why would I vote for that? And until we can come up with someone that says, hey, here's actual fresh fruit and a livable wage, I'm voting for it is the lesser of 2 evils. And I get that, but it's still lesser. They're not the same, and go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm gonna say, well, think about when that debater was shot, and everybody's like, I bet the Democrats would be mad if something happened to one of their people. It did, right? Melissa Hortman was murdered, and her husband, and the dog, and a whole nother guy. I can't remember the other guy's name because I've been focusing on her, but was also shot at and injured. And this was multiple people. And it was a methodically calculated and thought out thing done by another white man. Right?
70 plus people on his list.
Yeah, he just didn't get to them. And
Gretchen Whitmer, whole kidnapping plot.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've been talking about the violence that comes along with a certain faction of this subset MAGA Republican Party that are they're willing to die or go to jail for what they've been led to believe. And on the other end, you got folks who honestly flake with the wind, always want to do the best thing for everybody. But if you try to please everybody, you please no one, you know? Yeah, and to like Samuel's point, you can freely protest on one side, but on the other, you will get potentially detained, put into a concentration camp, and ultimately either sent out of the country or murdered or busting rocks somewhere, and nobody ever hears from you again.
Well, to that exact point, there were the Chaldeans in Dearborn, Michigan. Dearborn, Michigan is a swing state. Supposedly, Trump won that swing state. And there were the Chaldeans in Dearborn who said they would not vote for Kamala Harris because she did not come out forcefully enough on the side of the Palestinians. Now, Gaza is rubble.
Mm-hmm.
The sitting president just brokered an agreement. Hamas has not signed it. Who knows if there's anybody, in a position to say that they represent the interests of the Palestinian people at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But it gives everything to Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And bans Hamas from leadership in the region. That's the compromise. We bombed you to nothing.
Right.
Nobody lives in Gaza anymore because it's all rubble. Hundreds of thousands of people have been killed. The majority of them, women, children, and the elderly.
Mm-hmm.
Infrastructure is destroyed. There's no water. There's no electricity. There's nothing. And you have the president of the United States crowing about turning that beachfront property into glorious resorts.
Mm-hmm.
But Kamala wasn't forceful enough on Palestine.
Right, because she said we would try to figure out perhaps a two-party solution. Yeah, right. And that wasn't enough for you. And because it wasn't everything you wanted, you decided to eat that pizza. Yeah. If I can't have everything I want, I'd rather eat shit and die. Who does that? Stupid people. And I'm calling you stupid. Come get me.
There's a lot of you.
Yes.
Harrison, Phil talking about the whole Valhalla thing. So here's the thing about Valhalla. Hegseth literally said, we're not a Nordic race of people with long hair and beards. So we're going to take beards away from soldiers. Start with J.D. Vance.
Is that a beard? I thought his wife was the beard.
I mean, two things can be true.
Yes.
Without that beard, J.D. Vance looks like a peeled grape with eyeliner.
He looks like a psychotic Cabbage Patch doll.
Garbage Pail Kid.
Garbage Pail Kid. Yes.
So Ted Cruz.
Jeepers. That's him.
Yep. With that weak, soft chin.
He's Cartman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, shave. Go ahead, Hegseth. Go ahead. Also, tattoos used to be against Army regs. They softened it. There's certain places can't be visible, blah, blah, blah. Hegseth always has his sleeves rolled up. He's got that "We Are the People" big tattoo on his forearm. He's got those vaguely Aryan crosses on other parts of his body. If you're going to clean it up, then clean it up. But that means not you, bro. And for you to sit there, these are combat veterans. It's hard to believe, but the old generals right now made their bones on like Desert Storm and Desert Shield when we were alive. Like those old people from
is from the 90s, which was
considers wars. These are 90s generals. That was 35 years ago. These are the people in leadership now. And you're talking trash and saying, and if the women can't do it, then the women don't do it. The women are already not doing things that they don't qualify for. It makes me sick to see a fat soldier. I mean, which fat soldiers? And you're going to tell these generals in their 60s and 70s that they have to be able to do push-ups? They're not in the field, my boy.
Right.
They're in the room using their decades of active military experience to make judgments and tell people how to best deploy the working military assets.
Right, because they came up through that. They could do push-ups when they
came up
needed
through
to.
that. They had to pass those physicals for 20 years or whatever the hell it was.
And how dare you tell me to do push-ups and to shave my beard and everything when you are actively bending both knees to a dude that smells like mothballs and crap. If it weren't for cholesterol, he'd have no blood flow at all.
I mean, it's
See? Me and you right here. Mrs. Cunningham.
I love my mother.
Mm-hmm.
She is a wonderful person. Now we are coming up on an hour, and there is still a few things to talk about, not the least of which is, yes, he can't do real. I don't know what those pull-ups were. He'd have a better chance with Pampers pull-ups. But
before we get off this, I want to make this one thing because it does respond to a Palestinian.
Oh yes,
You know that just for you if you can't see it, you know that they have a Project Esther that the Heritage Foundation put out in October 2024 to coincide with Project 2025, and it was created to suppress pro-Palestinian movement and take away women's rights. And yeah, they're right in the middle of all of that.
I mean.
But yeah, generals
we are where we are.
They basically brought all the military CEOs together and said, y'all need to learn some push-ups and be in better shape. What for? They're not out there.
Every single one. Now, and it was broadcast. We knew that they were there. We knew that they had been called. He wanted everybody to know. And I'm sure they were secure. It's Quantico. They got, roads and all that sort of stuff. I don't know what you would have done with 400 drones coming in. And that's how Ukraine did its damage. Not even 400 drones. They just had a bunch of drones. And maybe you would have been able to get them all, but it wouldn't have taken more than one or two to seriously impact us. And that's the choice you made. So, two more things. I have already downloaded the 3D version of the statue. The 3D version of the statue really makes Trump look a lot better than he really does. But if you want the 3D version of the statue, it is available. You can go to sketchfab.com and pull it down. But while we're talking about people and caloric intake and too much fat, this is a real quick one before we close out the show with some CBC coverage. The nephew, probably grandnephew, of Harlan Sanders was upset that the current leadership of KFC is, quote unquote, sexualizing his great uncle.
What?
So so the new KFC, because they don't call it Kentucky Fried Chicken anymore because that says fried and fried is bad. And so they just made it KFC because KFC were the initials. And because they're trying to appeal to a demographic that doesn't like fried, they're trying to imply that their food is in some way healthy, which, I mean, you just introduced that potato wedges that people demanded that you bring back. Those are deep fried carbs, battered deep fried carbs. They're not good for you, but they have a Colonel Sanders who is more athletic. That's the generous way to put it. But they think they're sexualizing Colonel Sanders by making him look buff and attractive. And so the grandnephew went out and said, you want the 11 herbs and spices? I got your 11 herbs and spices.
Wow.
1 tablespoon of sage, a half teaspoon of cloves, a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, a half teaspoon of cinnamon. Already, it's sounding like a pumpkin spice latte. I'm just saying, but okay. Then you've got 2 pinches of cayenne/red pepper, a half teaspoon of coriander, a 1/4 teaspoon of ginger, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a tablespoon of white pepper, and 1.5 tablespoons of black pepper. And the secret ingredient is cardamom, which is an herb that has like kind of a citrusy, kind of lemony, kind of piquant to it. And then you add salt and MSG. They say to use cake flour and 3 tablespoons of salt and 1 tablespoon of MSG to 3 cups of flour. I don't know how many chickens, because this doesn't seem like a lot of seasoning, but again, it's, palm colored people.
I'm gonna tell you right now, this is how you know they stole this from Black people.
Right.
Cinnamon, cayenne, cloves, cardamom, bro. That's jerk chicken.
Garlic powder.
Yeah, garlic powder, cardamom.
Coriander.
They didn't know what that was. Yeah, ginger, coriander, all of that is diasporic seasoning blends.
It is.
Right. But also that recipe has been out on the internet for years. And he didn't tell nothing new.
Well, but I just love the pettiness.
Yes.
I'm here for petty. And the fact that it was a member of the family.
Yes.
Who did it and had
I will burn my legacy to the ground.
Exactly. And not that many people are like on KFC like that anymore, but you know, whatever. It's fine. I just exactly. You're right on, Chan.
Mm-hmm.
So
and you're right, they don't even do grilled chicken. They just gave up on anything remotely.
They did.
Yeah.
Because it was like, who wants that?
You know who's coming for them?
Chick-fil-A still has grilled chicken.
You know who's coming for them? Who's coming for KFC? The other KFC, Korean fried chicken. Ain't letting up. Korean fried chicken is, yo, it's tasty.
And out here we have Louisiana fried chicken. Now the Louisiana fried chicken, which is mostly run by Asian families, curiously enough, there is one Black-owned Louisiana fried chicken in LA. And I do like their fried chicken. Their fried chicken is pretty bomb.
Everybody can franchise. I ain't mad at anybody that can run.
Everybody franchise. Everybody franchise. Everybody franchise. You ain't messing with my chicken. So the reason I wasn't available for the show last week is that I was at the Congressional Black Caucus annual legislative conference in DC. It was their 54th year. Next year, because the CBCF, which is the organization that actually runs CBC ALC now, instead of it being the actual Congressional Black Caucus, it's the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. They are celebrating 50 years. The foundation is celebrating 50 years next year. So it's going to be a big blowout. But I was there, and the best way to describe it is like, it's Black bougie Disneyland. It's
Chant, yes, and they acknowledge that.
They did.
Black soldiers show the Koreans how to make fried chicken, like how to fry it. Yes, the season they use. Yes, but it's like teaching Prince how to play the guitar, and then Prince go off and do some stuff. You taught him how to play a guitar, but Prince still out here being Prince. Like
he's still being Prince.
Korean fried chicken is a vibe, you know. Actually, next year during Dragon Con, I'm putting together a panel called Soul to Soul. We're going to talk about the connections between Black people and Koreans. It's going to be great. Come to Dragon Con. But now, Katie Mae was probably the name of Colonel Sanders. You know what? Yeah, maybe. But anyway, back to the fun stuff. We're going to end on a high note with the CBC.
We're going to end on a high note. Mm-hmm. So CBC, it's the Congressional Black Caucus. I believe there are 66. I think it's 66 members, including 2 Black female senators now. We got 2 Black female senators. It was only one for the long time, and then Carol Moseley Braun stepped down, and now we've got 2 that have just been elected, and of course Tim Scott and Cory Booker, and then everybody else said, you know, Jasmine Crockett, all of the superstars. And so this is a time when people come. They have the whole convention center. And if you want an idea of what it is, there are a ton of panels on a whole bunch of different topics. And so sometimes your actual congresspersons will be a part of the conversation. So, you know, Cory Booker led a thing about AI, and there's dozens and dozens and dozens. They take over the whole Walter Washington Convention Center. They've got 3 floors. It crosses the street. You know, they've got a big exhibit hall where they've got Black vendors. And
this sounds like Dragon Con, but for politics.
It is, but for politics. So you have people like Johnson & Johnson was there. They were doing kind of a big health thing where you could get your blood pressure checked, and you take quizzes, and they did all this other sort of stuff. You had Amazon was there. Disney was there. Various financial institutions were there.
I know Chase and Chase and Wells Fargo was there because they're gonna be there.
Well, actually, they weren't this time. Interestingly enough, they were not.
They must have had enough.
But there was a whole lot of stuff. And in addition to the sponsors, who of course have these big, beautiful setups and all of that, you also had media organizations. So one of the Black radio stations had a little booth. And so if a congressperson happened to come by, they could interview them. State of the People, which is a show that is debuting tonight. It's actually debuting in 23 minutes. So you should watch. Google State of the People, The Signal Live. The Signal Live is debuting today. And it's going to be similar to what your experience is with Steel Sharpens Steel, and with not quite as engaging hosts as us. However, there were lots of cool people, everybody that you would want to see. Jasmine Crockett, of course, was a superstar. She's going to be interviewed later on their show. But I got to meet up with a bunch of people. So Ben Crump, one of my friends back from when we were both in Tallahassee in school at the same time, bumped into him. W. Kamau Bell.
Yay!
And yes, and we are about the same height, absent his hair.
Mm-hmm.
Don Lemon was there, State of the People. I was working the State of the People stage for a bit. And in the course of my doing that, I got to interview Maxwell Frost.
Wow.
Representative from the great state of Florida, representing the folks in and around Orlando. And so, well, I'll let you know when that interview should air. But if you are a person who is interested in creating relationships, business relationships, professional relationships, if you have an eye on being a politician, if you want to run for an office, there is no better place for you to receive some mentorship or talk to people and network and make some connections than at CBC. And so
I want to touch on that for just a second, because I think about my sorority and our ever-present challenges of trying to have future leaders. Because at the time, when people come into the sorority, wherever they come in from, we already got a national president. We already got chapter presidents. We already got people doing things. But those people have been doing it, and they're getting tired, and they're retiring, and they're getting old, and some of them are dying in office. Like, I mean, it is what it is. And we've seen that happen this year. We're like, think about Sylvester Turner that died in office in Texas, right? And so on a larger scale, there's so many people, not only in our community, but in the Latino community, a lot of women as well, if you want to consider that a community, that are looking at, Marsha Fudge. Like, well, she's out there. She's Marsha. She told us in 2014 she was freaking tired and we needed to step up, right? And so what we do in our sorority is we create like these programs to mentor new people to come in to be leaders in the organization. And we also recognize that when they say they want to do that, we step back. All right, we'll show you how to do some things, and then we're going to let you do it with very little guidance, because we don't want to be like micromanaging. I want the Democratic Party and I want Congress in general to start doing this. They don't mentor, I take it back, people who are more liberal don't mentor other people. The conservatives been grooming these folks for the last 50 to 60 years. We've had generations of people groomed by previous generations, which is why white supremacy and racism won't die, because they're getting it straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Meanwhile, the liberals are like, well, I don't know who's next. Pelosi ain't got no succession plan.
Nope.
Bernie trying to rule from the grave. Like, I need them to step back and bring in some people. And so this Congressional Black Caucus, he's serious. If you're interested in any sort of running, even if you want to run for city council, start making those connections, right?
That's the thing. That's what Maxwell was saying in our interview. He was saying that he was inspired as a 15-year-old to get involved. And these are offices that are up every 2 years. And the people that are exciting the Gen Zers and, even the Zoomers and the Zennials and everybody, the voices that are exciting people are the younger voices.
Like the kids out of Tennessee,
Right. The Tennessee 3, Frost, obviously Jasmine. And Jasmine, low key, even though she looks about 20 years younger than Laura Loomer, she is not, in fact, that young. She's 44.
Yeah. She's an elder millennial. Yeah.
Correct. So, but these are young voices in politics. They haven't been around forever. So
even I would even add Josh Johnson in there. He's a comedian, but he might be the next de facto host of The Daily Show, just from a standpoint of keeping the voice of people alive. Along with the Colberts of the world, the Rachel Maddows, who are there. I know they are off doing something else, but we need people with energy, intelligence, with a desire to have some authority, so we can make some real changes. Because otherwise, like I said, it's one plantation or the other. I need somebody that's like, you know what, we can do a whole commune. We can just have a farm that's not a plantation. That's what everybody really wants, including the people that keep voting against their own interests. If we could just get one generation of people to say there was probably a stupid idea, I think we could save this country. But we got to have a generation of clean sweep, and I'm not talking violence. I'm talking radical change at the local, state, and national level, where it comes to people not wanting just party lines and loyalty, but actually want to do something. I wish we would instead of having a two-party system, have a no-party system. Run on your own merits. But that would require a drastic change in political contributions.
Well, it would involve a reconsideration of the whole notion of the Citizens United decision.
Yes, which I remember Obama bashing that decision when it happened. Right. And they wanted to give him hell for, how dare you say something about the Supreme Court? He wasn't wrong, though.
Oh, he absolutely wasn't wrong. He absolutely wasn't wrong.
The name of the podcast, what is it?
The Signal Live, State of the People. And so it's going to be broadcast on a number of different channels. There are going to be people like Elizabeth Booker, who she did the interview with Jasmine Crockett, so that's going to be fire. So lots of different voices, Angela Rye, Joanne Reed, a bunch of different people are going to be, it's kind of a rotating suite of folks. And so they're going to be putting out a weekly show. So they're already putting together next week's shows and the shows after that and the shows after that. So tune in, please. Make an impact if you are inclined to share information about it. But don't share information about that show before you share information about this show, because you guys have been watching this show. So we thank you so much for that. Just before we go, we talked about Jasmine Crockett and how young she looks and how great she looks. But since we are heading into Halloween season, it is already Libra season, Libra gang. Just wanted to bring something up on the timeline, because this was something that was amazing to me. Now, here is a Halloween mask.
Oh my God.
Of Laura Loomer. And the Halloween mask actually looks better than her real face.
Bruh, I thought that you were putting Loomer up against the guy from Saw. I didn't realize that wasn't her until I saw the Halloween tag on her and you said that out loud. Dude, that is a really good mask of her.
That's a great mask. Now that is on a human body because you can see the eyes.
Yeah.
And there's obviously a neck and shoulders, but that is a mask. And this is the heifer who had the nerve to say something about Jasmine Crockett. She's been kind of quiet recently. Probably because that's not a good thing. Yeah, to have the Halloween store that takes over abandoned bookstores, Spirit of Halloween, you are the starring mask. You are inspiring horror in children. That's you. It is not a good thing to have a Halloween mask of you.
Chan says she looks like she has to before she goes out.
It is what it is. Yeah, thank you, Bob. We said it again. Signal Live, State of the People, perfectly. So that's pretty much where we are. We are looking forward. Well, not looking forward to. We are certain that there's going to be more confusion and F around and find out for the next week. there's going to be plenty of stuff. We didn't even talk about South Park, which had another spectacular episode.
Oh, I missed it.
Last
I haven't
week.
been watching. Granted, I don't have HBO, so I haven't been watching.
Oh, it's Paramount Plus.
I don't have that either. I have Netflix and Crunchyroll, and I don't even have Crunchyroll. I'm taking that from somebody else.
Well, this week they got into the whole FCC chair Carr.
Oh wow!
And there's more about Trump. If you haven't been watching, here's a good reason. Trump has impregnated Satan, and Satan is going to be, they're calling it a butt baby because obviously he doesn't have a uterus. So the baby, that's the only place the baby can grow. And Satan actually wants the baby, and Trump wants a miscarriage. And so this episode is Trump trying to have Satan miscarry and FCC chair Carr falling into all the traps.
You know what's wild is, people like joke and say, I threw up in my mouth a little bit. I really just got like indigestion, and the spicy Korean fried chicken I had earlier came back on me. Ugh. Jesus.
Yeah. So that's it. Watch The Signal live. It comes on right after our show. So that just makes it convenient. Just switch channels. And we will see you. Do you have anything else, Joy?
I was trying to look it up really quickly because Phil said that Stephen Miller showed his booty today.
Oh, Lord.
And the story that I have found is that his message to the cops was met with shock. And then he blows up over Gavin Newsom. Let's see. Oh, Stephen Miller tells the Memphis police, you are unleashed.
They are unleashed. Bruh.
And he wants patriots, like regular people, to conduct green card interviews. And what he's saying is basically, let's bring the Gestapo back because it sounded like fun. That's what he's really saying.
Let's bring Gestapo back. No. Yeah, we're not doing that. No. Sorry, my boy. That's not happening.
No, but I mean, if you consider all of his stance on everything, he is one of the major proponents of the nonsense that's been going on. And again, absolutely. One of my friends and I, we were talking earlier, and two things we said, I'm like, I need everybody to hear this. One was, I was telling her about the show I watched on Tubi that was taken from AMC. I forget what it was called, but it was good. Dominican philosopher. Jan. So just look up the phrase, whose favorite color is 5, and you'll understand why we Chan, bad Chan. It's a bad Chan. Damascus, thank you. This is the name of the show, Damascus.
Oh, right.
It's really good.
Virtual reality, living a bunch of different lives or something.
Yeah. He keeps doing like these time jumps and going to like a slightly different version of his of himself. But in one episode, he's out with his uncles and something, and then they're trying to decide whether or not they're bringing guns to like go fight some people, blah blah blah. And one of his uncles says, "You used to fight with your fists." Of course, we heard that in Friday. We get that. He goes, right. Back in the day, it was survival of the fittest, and now everybody got guns, which is making the unfit survive. And I was like, dang, that's the truth. And then I thought about how many people have guns in the United States and the unfit surviving. And then I was talking to my homegirl about it, and she was like, you do realize that all of this is in service of getting losers laid. And I was like, wow. And if you think about the demographics that started voting Republican recently, a lot of them incels in the basement who feel like if I can't get a girl on my own, then I'll get the government to force her to have to be with me. Because she won't be able to have a bank account or vote or do anything for herself, and they'll need men again. And when they say, when a guy says you don't need a man, what they really mean is you can get by without a man, right? Because I might need you to change the fence. I might change the washer in my shower. I might need you to get something off the top shelf. I don't need you to pay my bills though, because I got a bank account and credit cards and good credit, maybe better than yours, right? I got my own apartment. I've had houses, etc. I don't need you for that. But yes, exactly this, right? All of the idea of then she'll have to be with me, and I can punch above my weight class and get some girl that I don't deserve because she'll have no choice, And so that idea of losers getting laid and the unfit surviving, that's Look at Stephen Miller.
And with that, I'll say I'm Tom Cunningham.
I am Geraldo Rivera.
And this is Steel Sharpens Steel. We will see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.